Picture a misty dawn in feudal Japan. The air is cool, carrying the faint scent of pine and wet earth. A young samurai kneels before a flickering lantern, his silhouette sharp against the paper walls of a modest hall. His hands rest on his thighs, steady, but his heart races. Today he will swear an oath, one that will bind his life to his lord's will, a vow so sacred it feels heavier than the katana at his side. Welcome to Whispers of History, where we step into the past to unravel the lives of those who shaped it. Tonight, we begin our journey with the samurai, men bound by a code so strict it defined their every breath. Let's walk their path together. As the world fades and their story comes alive, the lantern's flame sways gently, casting shadows that dance across the tatami mats. The young samurai, Hiroshi, barely 20, feels the weight of the moment. His lord, Daimyo Takeda, sits before him, his face stern yet not unkind, framed by the intricate folds of his silk robes. Around them, the hall is quiet, save for the soft creak of wood settling in the morning chill. Hiroshi's father once knelt here, pledging his life to the same lord, and now it's his turn. The oath of loyalty, the cornerstone of a samurai's existence, is no mere promise, it's a chain forged in honor. Unbreakable, eternal. In feudal Japan, from the Kamakura period in the late 12th century to the Edo era's twilight in the 19th, the samurai were more than warriors. They were the heartbeat of a society built on loyalty, men who lived and died by their word. To understand their world, we must start here, with the oath that shaped them. It wasn't just a vow to serve a lord. It was a surrender of self, a commitment to place duty above desire, honor above life. For Hiroshi, kneeling in that quiet hall, the words he's about to speak will define him until his final breath. The ceremony is simple, yet profound. Hiroshi bows low, his forehead nearly touching the floor, and speaks the words passed down through generations. My life is yours, my lord, my sword, my heart, my honor, or yours, until the earth claims me. The daimyo nods, his eyes searching Hiroshi's face for any flicker of doubt. There is none. Not because Hiroshi is fearless, but because he's been raised to believe that loyalty is the root of all virtue. To break this oath would be to unravel not just his life, but his soul. But what did this loyalty mean in practice? Imagine Hiroshi's world. He's not just a soldier, he's a servant, a strategist, a symbol. His lord, Takeda, controls a swath of land in the shadow of Mount Fuji, 200 kilometers from the imperial capital. The land is fertile, dotted with rice paddies and small villages, but it's also contested, eyed by rival clans who'd seize it in a heartbeat. Hiroshi's oath binds him to protect this domain, to fight, to advise, to die if needed. He might be sent to guard a border outpost, the wind howling through the pines as he watches for enemy scouts, or he might kneel at Takeda's side during a tense meeting with allies, his hand never far from his sword. Every choice, every action, must reflect his loyalty. Yet this bond wasn't one-sided. The daimyo, in turn, owed his samurai protection, sustenance, and purpose. Takeda provides Hiroshi with a modest stipend, rice silk, sometimes coin enough to maintain his family's small home. He grants him a place in the clan's hierarchy, a role that gives Hiroshi's life meaning. But this exchange came with strings. If Takeda faltered, if his leadership weakened, or his enemies grew too strong, Hiroshi's loyalty could lead him to ruin. A lord's mistake might mean Hiroshi's death in a hopeless battle, or worse, a command to perform seppuku, the ritual, suicide, to preserve the clan's honor. Let's linger on that thought. Imagine Hiroshi, years later, standing on a windswept hill. His lord has lost a crucial battle, and to appease a rival clan, Takeda orders Hiroshi to take his own life. The samurai's code, bushido, demands obedience even here. Hiroshi would kneel, his katana steady in his hands, and face death with the same resolve he showed in that quiet hall. This wasn't rare. Historical records, like the chronicles of the Sengoku period, tell of samurai who died not for victory, but for loyalty. In 1546, a warrior named Torimo Tada defended his lord's castle against impossible odds, knowing it would cost his life. His final letter to his son, preserved in Japan's archives, speaks of pride, not regret. To die in service is my honor. But loyalty wasn't just about grand gestures. It seeped into the everyday. Hiroshi wakes before dawn, his breath visible in the cold air of his modest home. He polishes his armor not out of vanity, but because it represents his lord's trust. He trains with his sword, practicing cuts until his muscles ache, because weakness could shame Takeda. Even his meals, simple rice, pickled plums, a sliver of fish, are measured, a reminder that excess might distract him from duty. His wife Aiko understands this life. She too carries the weight of his oath, mending his clothes, managing their home, knowing that any day Hiroshi might not return. Yet, loyalty could clash with the heart. Picture a moment years later, when Hiroshi's son falls ill. The village healer needs rare herbs, found only in a distant market, but Takeda has ordered Hiroshi to a remote outpost. Does he obey, leaving his son to fate, or does he risk disgrace to save his child? Such dilemmas were real. The Hogakure 17th century samurai text warns that hesitation is betrayal. Yet stories whisper of samurai who bent the rules, quietly, to protect their families, only to face guilt that lingered like a shadow. That's tension defined the samurai's world. Loyalty was their North Star, but it could lead to impossible choices. In the Muromachi period, around 1400, a samurai named Kano Suketake faced such a moment. His lord demanded he attack a neighboring clan, but his brothers served that clan. Suketake fought, as duty required, but spared his brother in secret, a choice that haunted him. When his lord discovered this, Suketake was stripped of rank, his family shamed. He wandered as a ronin, a masterless samurai, until he died alone. His loyalty torn between two masters, his lord and his heart. The oath wasn't just personal, it shaped Japan itself. Clans rose and fell on the strength of their samurais' loyalty. During the Genpei War of the 1180s, the Minamoto clan triumphed because their warriors held fast, while their rivals, the Taira, faltered when loyalties wavered. Entire regions shifted hands, not just through swords, but through the trust or betrayal between lords and their men. Hiroshi's oath, spoken in that quiet hall, ripples outward, tying him to a larger story of power, sacrifice, and survival. If you're enjoying this video, please subscribe. It means the world to keep these stories alive. As the ceremony ends, Hiroshi rises, his knees stiff from kneeling. The daimyo offers a rare smile, a sign of approval. Hiroshi steps outside, the morning sun breaking through the mist. His life is no longer his own, but it's not without purpose. The oath gives him clarity, a path to follow in a world of chaos. Yet, as he walks toward the training grounds, his hand brushing the hilt of his sword, he feels the weight of what's to come. Loyalty will guide him, but it will also test him in ways he can't yet imagine. Next, we'll step into the forge, where the samurai's blade, his soul, is crafted with fire and patience. The katana isn't just a weapon, it's a symbol of the discipline that binds Hiroshi's life. Join me as we explore the art of its creation and the shocking rules that governed its use. If you liked this video, please subscribe. I'd love to share the next chapter with you. Asterisk, the sun climbs higher over the hills, casting golden light across the rice paddies where Hiroshi walks, his new oath still echoing in his mind. The weight of his katana at his side feels different now, heavier, as if it knows the life it's bound to. The sword isn't just steel. It's an extension of his soul, forged with a precision that mirrors the discipline of the samurai code. Tonight, we'll step into the smoky heart of the forge, where fire and skill shape a blade that can cut through armor on through a man's fate. Settle in, let the world fade, and let's follow Hiroshi as he learns the shocking rules that govern the samurai's most sacred tool. Hiroshi pauses at the edge of the village, where the clang of hammer on steel rings out like a heartbeat. The forge, a low wooden structure with a sloping roof, sits apart from the other buildings, its walls blackened by years of smoke. Inside, Master Kuroda, the swordsmith, works with a reverence that borders on prayer. Hiroshi has seen the old man before, his hands scarred and steady, but today he's here to learn not just about the blade, but about the rules that make it more than a weapon. In feudal Japan, a samurai's katana was his soul, and the process of its creation was as sacred as the oath he swore to his lord. The forge is dim, lit only by the orange glow of the fire. The air is thick with the scent of charcoal and molten iron, sharp and acrid, yet strangely comforting. Hiroshi stands at the threshold, his eyes fixed on Kuroda as he folds a glowing piece of steel. Each strike of his hammer precise, unheard. The katana's creation is a ritual, governed by rules so strict they feel ancient, woven into the very spirit of Japan. To wield a blade, Hiroshi must understand its birth, its purpose, and the discipline it demands. In the Kamakura period, when samurai first rose to power, and through the turbulent Sengoku era, a katana was more than a tool of war. It was a symbol of status, honor, and identity. Only samurai could carry one, a right enshrined in law by the Edo period's sword edicts of the 17th century. But this privilege came with responsibility. The blade had to be treated with respect, maintained with care, and wielded with precision. To misuse it was to disgrace not just the samurai, but the smith who crafted it, the lord who trusted him, and the ancestors who watched from the shadows. Kuroda motions Hiroshi closer, his voice low but firm. A katana is alive, he says, his eyes never leaving the glowing steel. It breathes with the fire that made it, and it speaks through the hand that holds it. Hiroshi listens, his breath catching as Kuroda explains the process. The steel begins as raw iron sand, gathered from riverbeds in the Chugoku Mountains, 200 kilometers west. It's smelted in a clay furnace for days, the heat so intense it turns the air to a shimmering haze. The smith separates the purest steel, called tamahagen, a treasure as rare as loyalty itself. The folding process is what sets the katana apart. Kuroda layers the steel, hammering it flat, folding it again, up to 15 times. Each fold strengthens the blade, creating patterns like ripples in a still pond. Hiroshi watches, mesmerized, as the metal glows red, then cools to a dull silver. The smith works in silence, but his movements are a language patient, deliberate, sacred. The process takes weeks, sometimes months, and every step is governed by tradition. The forge must be purified with salt, the smith must fast before beginning, and no outsider can interrupt the work. To break these rules risks angering the spirits that guide the blade's creation. Hiroshi imagines his own katana still sheathed at his side. Born in a forge like this one, its blade, 30 centimeters of curved steel, is sharp enough to slice through silk midair, yet strong enough to clash with another sword without breaking. The balance is perfect, the weight familiar in his hand, as if it were an extension of his arm. But owning such a blade comes with rules that Hiroshi is only beginning to grasp. A samurai must never draw his katana without purpose. To unsheath it in anger, or worse, in jest, is to invite shame. The Hogakure, that revered samurai text, warns, a blade drawn carelessly cuts the soul before it cuts the flesh. The rules extend to care. Hiroshi learns he must clean his katana daily, wiping the blade with rice paper and clove oil to prevent rust. He must store it horizontally, edge up, to preserve its curve. Even the act of sheathing it is a ritual, slow, controlled, a test of patience. Kuroda tells him of a samurai who, in haste, nicked his scabbard. The tiny flaw weakened the wood, and in a duel the scabbard split, leaving him defenseless. The man died, not from his enemy's sword, but from his own carelessness. Hiroshi feels a chill, realizing that every detail, no matter how small, carries weight. But the katana's rules go beyond maintenance. They govern its use in life and death. A samurai must be ready to kill with a single stroke, a skill that takes years to master. Hiroshi recalls his training, hours spent slicing bamboo stalks, aiming for a cut so clean it leaves no splinters. The goal is the ajutsu, the art of drawing and striking in one fluid motion. In a duel, there's no second chance. Historical records from the Muromachi period tell of duels where a single misstep meant death. In 1412, a samurai named Sakai Tadakatsu faced his rival at dawn. His draw was a fraction too slow. His head rolled before the sun cleared the horizon. Yet the blade's rules aren't just about combat, they're about restraint. A samurai must know when not to draw his sword. Hiroshi hears a story from Kuroda about a warrior named Matsui Kenji, who served a lord in the late Sengoku period. Kenji was insulted by a drunken merchant in a Kyoto tea house, a man who mocked his lord's name. The room fell silent, expecting Kenji to cut the man down. Instead, he sheathed his blade and walked away. Later he explained, "My sword serves my lord, not my pride." That restraint saved his clan from a feud, but it cost Kenji his reputation among lesser men, who called him weak. Hiroshi wonders if he'd have the strength to do the same. The katana also binds Hiroshi to his lord in ways he hadn't expected. If Daimyo Takeda orders him to execute a traitor, Hiroshi must obey, no matter his personal feelings. The blade becomes an instrument of loyalty, its edge an extension of Takeda's will. In the Edo period, samurai was sometimes tasked with carrying out punishments, their katanas used to behead criminals or enemies. The act was precise, almost ceremonial, but it left a mark on the soul. Hiroshi imagines standing over a condemned man, his sword raised, the man's eyes meeting his. Could he strike without hesitation? The rules demand it, but the heart resists. If you're enjoying this video, please subscribe. It means the world to keep these stories alive. As the day wears on, Hiroshi helps Kuroda in the forge, carrying charcoal, fanning the flames. The heat is stifling, sweat beads on his brow, but he feels a connection to the blade taking shape. It's not just steel, it's a legacy, a reminder of the men who came before him. His father's katana, now in his hands, was forged by Kuroda's father. The continuity humbles him. Every samurai carries not just his own honor, but that of his ancestors, his lord, and the smith who trusted him with such a weapon. The rules of the blade extend beyond Hiroshi's life. If he falls in battle, his katana must be returned to his lord or destroyed, never left for an enemy to claim. In 1477, during the Onin War, a samurai named Hayashi Nobuyotake died defending a bridge. His sword was recovered by his son, who carried it into battle years later, honoring his father's memory. Hiroshi vows to protect his blade, not just for himself, but for the son he hopes to have one day. As night falls, the forge grows quiet. Kuroda polishes the new blade, its surface gleaming like a moonlit stream. Hiroshi watches, his mind heavy with the rules he's learned. The katana is his soul, but it's also his burden, a constant reminder of the discipline that defines a samurai. He steps outside, the cool air a relief after the forge's heat. The village sleeps, but Hiroshi feels awake, alive, his hand resting on his sword's hilt. The oath he swore binds him to his lord. The blade binds him to himself. Next, we'll delve deeper into the samurai's heart, exploring the code of bushido honor, courage, integrity, and how it shaped every choice Hiroshi makes. The rules of the blade are just the beginning. The rules of the soul are even stricter. Join me as we uncover the shocking truths of a samurai's honor. The village is still as Hiroshi walks back from the forge, the weight of his katana a steady presence at his side. The moon hangs low, casting a silver glow over the thatched roofs, and the air carries the faint scent of cedar. His mind lingers on the blade, its rules now etched into his thoughts. But there's a deeper code guiding his every step, a code that shapes not just his actions, but his very soul. Tonight, we'll step into the heart of bushido, the samurai's unwavering commitment to honor, courage, and integrity. Settle in, let the world fade, and let's follow Hiroshi as he navigates the shocking demands of a warrior's honor. Hiroshi pauses by a small shrine at the village's edge, its stone lantern flickering in the night. He bows, a quiet gesture of respect, not just to the spirits but to the principles that define him. Bushido, the way of the warrior, is more than a set of rules. It's a lens through which every choice is made, every breath measured. For a samurai like Hiroshi, honor is not a choice, that's the foundation of existence. In feudal Japan, from the Kamakura period's dawn in the 12th century to the Edo era's rigid order, bushido was the invisible thread weaving through a samurai's life, binding him to his lord, his blade, and himself. The word bushido means the way of the warrior, but its meaning runs deeper. It's a code of virtues: honor, courage, loyalty, justice, sincerity, benevolence, and self-control that governed a samurai's every action. Hiroshi learned these principles as a boy, sitting at his father's knee, listening to stories of warriors who lived and died by this code. Now, as a sworn samurai under daimyo Takeda, he feels their weight. Honor, above all, is the cornerstone. To live with honor is to act with integrity, to uphold one's word, and to face death without flinching. To fail is to invite shame, a fate worse than death. Hiroshi's first test of honor comes sooner than he expects. A week after his oath, he's summoned to Takeda's hall. The room is heavy with tension, the air thick with the scent of polished wood and incense. A neighboring Lord Saito has sent a messenger accusing one of Takeda's vassals, a farmer named Chenzo, of stealing rice from Saito's fields. The accusation is grave. Rice is wealth, and theft undermines the fragile peace between clans. Takeda's eyes are sharp as he tasks Hiroshi with investigating. Find the truth, he says, and act with honor. Hiroshi nods, but his stomach tightens. The truth is rarely simple, and honor can demand a heavy price. The investigation takes Hiroshi to Genzo's village, 20 kilometers south, where the fields stretch like a green sea under the midday sun. Genzo is a wiry man, his hands calloused from years of toil. He swears his innocence, his voice trembling as he describes his family's hunger after a poor harvest. His wife Hana clutches their young daughter, her eyes pleading. Hiroshi listens, his katana a silent reminder of his duty. Bushido demands justice, but also compassion. He searches the village, finding no stolen rice, only empty barrels and thin faces. Yet Saito's messenger insists there's evidence: a sack of rice marked with Saito's seal, found near Kenzo's home. Hiroshi faces a dilemma. If he accuses Kenzo without proof, he risks condemning an innocent man. If he dismisses Saito's claim, he questions his lord's ally, risking Takeda's honor. The code of Bushido offers no easy answers. It demands truth, but also loyalty to his lord's interests. Hiroshi recalls a story from the Sengoku period, about a samurai named Oda Taro in 1560. Taro faced a similar choice. His lord ordered him to execute a villager accused of spying. Despite thin evidence, Taro obeyed, only to learn later the man was innocent. The guilt haunted him, and he retired to a monastery, his honor stained. Hiroshi vows not to repeat that mistake. He returns to the fields at dusk, the sky streaked with crimson. There, hidden in a ditch, he finds the sack of rice. Its seal indeed Saito's, but something feels wrong. The sack is too clean, untouched by the mud of the fields. Hiroshi suspects a setup, perhaps by Saito's men, to provoke Takeda. He confronts the messenger, his voice calm but firm, demanding to know who placed the sack. The man falters, his eyes darting away. Under pressure, he admits a rival samurai planted it to stir conflict. Hiroshi's heart steadies. He's uncovered the truth, but now Bushido demands he act with courage, reporting this to Takeda without fear of Saito's wrath. Back at the hall, Hiroshi kneels before Takeda, recounting his findings. The daimyo listens, his face unreadable. When Hiroshi finishes, Takeda nods. "You've honored me," he says, "and yourself." Genzo is spared, and Takeda sends a diplomatic letter to Saito avoiding war. Hiroshi feels relief, but also the weight of what could have been. A single misstep, ignoring the truth or bowing to pressure, could have cost lives. Bushido's rules are unforgiving, demanding clarity in a world of shadows. Honor also shapes Hiroshi's interactions beyond duty. At a village festival, he watches children play with wooden swords, their laughter mingling with the sound of a shamisen. A drunken retainer from another clan stumbles into him, spilling sake on his kimono. The man laughs, mocking Hiroshi's youth. The crowd quiets, expecting a fight. Bushido permits Hiroshi to defend his honor. A quick draw of his katana would silence the insult, but the code also values self-control. Hiroshi breathes deeply, recalling a lesson from the Hagakure: to endure is to triumph. He smiles, brushes off the stain, and walks away. The crowd murmurs, some in respect, others in scorn. But Hiroshi feels no shame. Honor, he realizes, is not in the eyes of others, but in his own heart. Yet honor could clash with loyalty, creating impossible choices. Imagine Hiroshi years later, tasked with guarding a convoy of supplies through a mountain pass. Bandits attack, and in the chaos, a fellow samurai flees, abandoning his post. Bushido demands Hiroshi reports this cowardice, but the man is his childhood friend Kenta, whose family depends on him. To speak would ruin Kenta's life. To stay silent would betray Takeda. Historical records, like the chronicles of the Miro period, tell of such dilemmas. In 1428, a samurai named Mori Yasutake hid his brother's desertion, only to be discovered and executed alongside him. Hiroshi wrestles with this, his honor torn between truth and friendship. The code also demands courage, not just in battle but in facing oneself. Hiroshi trains daily, his body aching from hours of sword practice, but Bushido requires more a fearless heart. One night alone in his room, he meditates, the flicker of a candle his only companion. He confronts his fears, death, failure, dishonor. The Zen teachings woven into Bushido urge acceptance of mortality, but it's not easy. A samurai must be ready to die at any moment, whether in battle or by seppuku. In 1600, during the Battle of Sekigahara, a samurai like Fukushima Masanori faced death with calm, their honor intact. Hiroshi strives for that strength, but the human heart resists. Honor extends to the smallest acts. Hiroshi polishes his katana with care, not just for its edge but for what it represents. He speaks truthfully, even when it risks offense, because sincerity is a pillar of Bushido. He helps a villager repair a broken cart, not for reward but because benevolence is his duty. These acts, small and large, weave the fabric of his life, yet they're exhausting. The constant vigilance, the need to embody perfection, weighs on him. He wonders if his father felt this burden, or if it grows heavier with time. As weeks pass, Hiroshi grows accustomed to the code's demands. He walks taller, his gaze steadier, but the weight of honor never lifts. It's a fire that warms and burns, guiding him through the chaos of feudal Japan. The Sengoku period's wars, the shifting alliances, the betrayals all test the samurai's resolve. Hiroshi hears of a lord who fell because his warriors lacked honor, their loyalty bought with gold rather than principle. Takeda's clan, he vows, will not suffer that fate. The night deepens, and Hiroshi returns to the shrine, its lantern now dim. He kneels, offering a silent prayer for strength. Honor is his guide, but it's also his judge, watching every step. Tomorrow, he'll rise before dawn, his life a cycle of discipline and duty. The rules of Bushido are clear, but living them is a battle of its own. Next, we'll follow Hiroshi into his daily rituals, the grueling routines that sharpen his body and mind. The samurai's life is one of relentless discipline, and the rules governing it are as shocking as they are unyielding. Join me as we uncover the rhythms that define a warrior's day. The shrine's lantern fades as Hiroshi steps away, the cool night air brushing his skin like a whisper. His prayer for strength lingers, but dawn is near, and with it comes the relentless rhythm of a samurai's life. The code of Bushido, with its demands of honor and loyalty, is not just a philosophy, it's a practice, carved into every moment of his day. Tonight, we'll follow Hiroshi through the rituals that shape him. From the quiet of his morning meditation to the sweats, hours of training. Settle in, let the world fade, and let's walk with him through the shocking discipline that defines a samurai's existence. The first light of dawn creeps over the horizon, painting the sky in hues of pink and gold. Hiroshi rises from his futon, the straw mats cool beneath his feet. His home, a modest wooden structure in the shadow of Daimyo Takeda's castle, is silent save for the soft breathing of his wife Iko and their infant son. The air smells of cedar and the faint temps of last night's fire. For a samurai, the day begins not with rest, but with purpose. Bushido demands discipline, and Hiroshi's life is a tapestry of rituals, each one a thread in the fabric of his duty. He starts with purification. Stepping outside, he draws water from a stone basin, the liquid icy against his hands. He washes his face and hands, a ritual rooted in Shinto tradition, cleansing not just his body but his spirit. The samurai's world is one of purity, physical, mental, moral. A single lapse, a moment of carelessness could tarnish his honor or endanger his lord. Hiroshi breathes deeply, the cold sharpening his senses, preparing him for the day's demands. In feudal Japan, from the Kamakura period's warrior rise in the 12th century to the Edo era's structured peace, such rituals were non-negotiable, a daily reminder of the samurai's higher calling. Hiroshi kneels before a small altar in his home, a wooden shelf holding a scroll with his family's crest and a single incense stick. Its smoke curls upward, filling the room with a faint sandalwood scent. He closes his eyes, focusing on his breath, a practice drawn from Zen Buddhism. The samurai's mind must be as sharp as his blade, free of doubt or distraction. This meditation, often lasting 30 minutes, is a battle against the self. Hiroshi wrestles with thoughts of his son's future, Iso's quiet worries, the weight of his oath to Takeda, but Bushido demands control. He lets these thoughts drift like leaves on a stream, returning to the rhythm of his breath. Historical texts, like the writings of Zen master Taekwondo Soho in the 17th century, describe this clarity as essential for a warrior. A way to face death without fear. With his mind steadied, Hiroshi turns to his body. He steps into the courtyard, the grass damp with dew, and begins his morning exercises. The samurai's training is grueling, a daily test of endurance and skill. He starts with stretches, loosening muscles stiffened by sleep, then moves to sword drills. His katana, polished the night before, gleams in the early light. He practices cuts downward, slashes, diagonal strikes, each one precise, aimed at an invisible foe. The air hums as the blade moves, a sound both soothing and deadly. He repeats each motion 50 times, sweat beading on his brow, his breath steady but labored. The Hogakure, a samurai guide from the Edo period, insists, a warrior who falters in practice falters in battle. Hiroshi's training isn't just physical. He runs 5 kilometers through the hills, his sandals pounding the dirt paths, the wind carrying the scent of pine. This builds stamina, crucial for the long marches or battles that might await. He recalls a story of a samurai named Uesugi Kenshin who, during the Sengoku period's wars in the 1560s, led his men across snowy mountains to surprise an enemy. His endurance, honed by daily runs, turned the tide of battle. Hiroshi pushes himself harder, imagining Takeda's trust resting on his strength. Next, he practices archery, a skill as vital as swordsmanship. At the village's training ground, 100 meters from his home, he sets up a straw target. The yumi, a long asymmetrical bow, feels heavy in his hands, its bamboo polished smooth. Drawing the string takes strength, but aiming requires calm. Hiroshi steadies his breath, his eyes locked on the target 50 meters away. The arrow flies, striking just off-center. He frowns, adjusting his stance. Bushido demands perfection, and even a near miss is a failure. He shoots again and again until his fingers ache and the target bristles with arrows. In the Muromachi period, samurai like Nasu no Yoichi were legendary for their precision, felling enemies with a single shot from horseback. Hiroshi aspires to that mastery, though he knows it's years away. Midday brings a brief pause. Hiroshi eats a simple meal: rice, pickled radish, a small piece of grilled fish, served by Aiko in their modest dining room. The samurai's diet is another ritual, governed by restraint. Excess is a weakness. A warrior must be lean, alert, ready. Historical records from the Edo period describe samurai who fasted before battles, believing hunger sharpened their focus. Hiroshi chews slowly, savoring the flavors, aware that even this act ties him to his duty. Aiko watches him, her eyes soft but searching. She knows the life he's chosen, the risks it holds, but she too lives by its rules, supporting him in silence. The afternoon is for study. Hiroshi visits the castle's library, a quiet room lined with scrolls. Here, he reads military treatises like Sun Tzu's Art of War, and studies maps of Takeda's lands, stretching 200 kilometers along the coast. A samurai must be a strategist, not just a fighter. He memorizes terrene, rivers that could slow an army, hills perfect for an ambush. He also practices calligraphy, his brush tracing characters with deliberate strokes. This isn't mere art, it's discipline, a way to steady the hand and mind. A sloppy stroke is a sloppy soul, his father once said. In the Kamakura period, samurai like Minamoto no Yoritomo were as skilled with a brush as with the sword, their letters shaping alliances as much as battles. As evening falls, Hiroshi returns to the training ground for sparring. He faces another samurai, Taro, a grizzled veteran with a scar across his cheek. They use wooden bokken, but the strikes are real, bruising through padded armor. Taro is relentless, his movements a blur, and Hiroshi struggles to keep up. A blow lands on his shoulder, sharp and humbling. Focus. Taro barks, but his eyes hold no malice. Sparring is a ritual of respect, a way to sharpen each other. In the Sengoku period, such training saved lives. Samurai who faltered in practice died in battle. Hiroshi grits his teeth, adjusting his grip, and lands a clean strike on Taro's arm. The older man nods, a rare sign of approval. Night brings the final rituals. Hiroshi inspects his katana, wiping the blade with rice paper and clove oil, the scent calming his nerves. He checks his armor, ensuring every lacquered plate is secure. These tasks, repetitive yet vital, ground him. He then kneels for a second. Meditation, reflecting on the day. Did he uphold bushido? Was his mind clear, his actions honorable? Doubts creep in moments when his focus wavered, when he snapped at Aiko over a small matter. He breathes, letting guilt dissolve. The samurai's path is not perfection, but the pursuit of it. Before sleep, Hiroshi sits with Aiko, their son, asleep between them. They speak softly, sharing stories of the day. This, too, is a ritual, a reminder of what he protects. Yet, even here, bushido governs. He cannot linger too long. Rest is brief, for dawn will call him again. Historical accounts, like those of the Edo period's samurai retainers, describe men who slept for hours a night, their lives a cycle of duty. Hiroshi feels the weight of this, but also its purpose. Discipline is his armor, as real as the lacquered plates he wears. The day's rituals, from purification to sparring, are a microcosm of the samurai's world. In feudal Japan, where wars like the Onin War of 1467 tore cities apart, discipline was survival. A samurai's routine forged not just skill, but character, preparing him for the chaos of battle or the subtleties of court. Hiroshi's life, like those of his ancestors, is a testament to this relentless pursuit. As he lies down, the futon soft beneath him, Hiroshi hears the distant hoot of an owl. Tomorrow will mirror today: purification, training, study, reflection. The rules of discipline are strict, unyielding, but they give his life shape, like the forge that shaped his blade. Yet they also isolate him, setting him apart from the villagers, even from Aiko at times. He wonders if this is the cost of being a samurai. Next, we'll face the shadow that looms over Hiroshi's life, the price of failure. The samurai's code offers no forgiveness for dishonor, and the consequences, like the ritual of seppuku, are as shocking as they are final. Join me as we explore the darkness that tests a warrior's resolve. The owl's hoot fades as Hiroshi drifts into sleep, the rhythm of his disciplined day lingering like the echo of a temple bell. His futon is a brief refuge, but even in rest, the weight of bushido presses on him. Honor, loyalty, discipline, these are his guiding stars, but they cast a long shadow. Failure, in the samurai's world, is not just a mistake. It's a stain that can consume a man, his family, and his legacy. Tonight, we'll walk with Hiroshi as he faces the chilling consequences of dishonor, where the code demands sacrifices, as sharp as any blade. Settle in, let the world fade, and let's explore the shocking price of a samurai's failure. The morning sun filters through the paper screens of Hiroshi's home, casting soft patterns on the tatami mats. He rises, his body aching from yesterday's training, but his mind is sharp, tempered by the rituals that define him. Yet today feels different. A messenger arrives at dawn, his face taut with urgency. Daimyo Takeda summons Hiroshi to the castle, his tone clipped, his eyes avoiding Hiroshi's. The air feels heavy, like the calm before a storm, and Hiroshi senses the shadow of something dire. In feudal Japan, from the turbulent Sengoku period to the rigid Edo era, failure was not a private matter, it was a public reckoning, and the samurai's code offered no mercy for those who faltered. Hiroshi walks the 2 kilometers to the castle, his katana a steady weight at his side. The path winds through rice paddies, the air thick with the scent of wet earth and blooming lotus. He passes villagers who bow, their respect a reminder of his role, but also of the expectations that bind him. Bushido demands perfection, and failure, whether in battle, duty, or honor, carries a cost that can echo through generations. Hiroshi has heard stories of samurai who fell from grace, their names whispered as warnings. Today, he fears he may face such a moment at the castle. The hall is stark, its wooden beams polished to a dark sheen. Takeda sits on a raised platform, his silk robes immaculate, his expression unreadable. Beside him is Taro, the veteran samurai who sparred with Hiroshi, his scarred face grim. The issue is a patrol gone wrong. A week ago, Hiroshi was tasked with leading a small group to scout a forested valley 30 kilometers north, where bandits had been spotted. The mission was routine, but a misstep, a delayed report, a missed trail allowed the bandits to ambush a merchant caravan. No lives were lost, but the goods, vital to Takeda's treasury, were stolen. The blame falls on Hiroshi. Takeda's voice is low, cutting. You swore an oath to protect this domain. Your failure has cost us. Hiroshi kneels, his forehead nearly touching the floor, his heart pounding. He explains, the forest was dense, the trails unclear, and his men were exhausted from days of rain. But excuses are not bushido. The code demands accountability, and Hiroshi feels the weight of his lapse. In the Sengoku period, such failures could topple clans. In 1543, a samurai named Amago Haruhisa lost a key outpost due to poor scouting, weakening his lord's hold and costing hundreds of lives. Hiroshi's mistake is smaller, but the shame burns just as fiercely. The samurai's world is unforgiving. Failure in duty, whether a lost battle, a betrayed trust, or a moment of cowardice, demands atonement. The most severe is seppuku, the ritual suicide that cleanses dishonor. Hiroshi's mind flashes to the stories his father told, of warriors who chose death over shame. In 1597, a samurai named Tori Mototada, serving Tokugawa Ieyasu, faced an impossible defense of Fushimi Castle. Knowing defeat was certain, he performed seppuku, his final act, preserving his lord's honor. The chronicles describe his calm, his blade steady, even as his men wept. Hiroshi wonders if he could face such a fate. Takeda does not demand seppuku, not yet. Instead, he orders Hiroshi to retrieve the stolen goods, a task that will take him deep into bandit territory. It's a chance for redemption, but also a test. Failure again could mean death, not just for Hiroshi but for his family's honor. Aiko, waiting at home, would bear the stigma, her son marked as the child of a disgraced samurai. In feudal Japan, shame was a family affair. The Edo period's records tell of samurai wives who lost their status, reduced to laboring in fields. When their husbands failed, Hiroshi feels this burden as he leaves the hall, Taro's gaze heavy on his back. The journey to the bandit camp is treacherous, a 50-kilometer trek through rugged hills. Hiroshi leads 5 men, their armor clinking softly in the dawn mist. The air smells of pine and damp stone, but tension hangs like a fog. Bushido demands courage, but also wisdom. Hiroshi recalls a lesson from his father. A samurai who rushes to death is as foolish as one who flees it. He plans carefully, sending scouts ahead, avoiding open paths where ambushes lurk. At night, by a small fire, he sharpens his katana. The rasp of stone on steel, a meditative rhythm. The blade, his soul, must be ready for what's coming. The camp is hidden in a ravine, its fires flickering like stars. Hiroshi's men move silently, their training a testament to the discipline he's honed. The bandits, a ragtag group of ronin and outcasts, are unprepared. In a swift raid, Hiroshi's team recovers the good sacks of rice, bolts of silk without bloodshed. But one bandit, a young man barely older than Hiroshi, pleads for mercy. His story is desperate. A farmer turned outlaw after a flood destroyed his fields. Hiroshi's heart stirs, but Bushido demands justice. He spares the boy, sending him to Takeda for judgment. A choice that risks his lord's displeasure but aligns with the code's call for compassion. Returning to the castle, Hiroshi kneels again, presenting the recovered goods. Takeda's face softens, but his words are measured. You've redeemed your mistake, but honor is fragile. Guard it. Hiroshi nods, relief mingling with unease. He's escaped the shadow of shame, but it lingers, a reminder of how close he came to ruin. The samurai's life is a tightrope, where a single misstep can plunge a man into disgrace. In the Muromachi period, a warrior named Kusunoki Masashige faced such a fall. Ordered to fight a hopeless battle in 1336. He obeyed, dying with honor but leaving his family to face the shame of defeat. Hiroshi vows to protect Iko and their son from such a fate. Shame isn't always public. Hiroshi feels it privately, in the quiet moments when he questions his worth. At home, Iko notices his silence, her hands gentle as she mends his torn kimono. She doesn't ask about the mission, but her eyes hold a quiet strength, reminding him why he endures. The samurai's code binds him to his lord, but also to his family, and failure in one duty can ripple to the other. Historical accounts, like those of the Edo period's retainers, describe samurai who hid their shame, drinking sake in secret to dull the pain. Hiroshi resists this, choosing meditation over escape, his breath steady as he seeks balance. If you're enjoying this video, please subscribe. It means the world to keep these stories alive. The village moves on, but Hiroshi carries a lesson. Every patrol, every task, is a chance to prove his honor or lose it. He trains harder, his sword drills sharper, his runs longer. He checks the castle's defenses, noting weak points in the walls, ensuring no oversight repeats his mistake. The samurai's life is a cycle of vigilance, where failure is always one moment away. In 1477, during the Onin War, a samurai named Hayashi Nobutake failed to secure a bridge, allowing enemies to cross. His lord spared his life, but the shame drove him to exile, his name erased from clan records. Hiroshi refuses to let his story end that way. As night falls, Hiroshi sits by the fire, Iko beside him. Their son sleeps, his tiny chest rising and falling. The weight of shame is heavy, but so is the resolve to overcome it. Bushido offers redemption, but only through action, through proving oneself again and again. Hiroshi's failure was small, but it taught him the fragility of honor, the cost of a single lapse. He polishes his katana, the blade gleaming in the firelight, a reminder of the path he must walk. Next, will don the armor that shields Hiroshi in battle and binds him to his duty. The samurai's gear is more than protection. It's a symbol of his role, crafted with care and laden with rules as strict as those of his blade. Join me as we explore the weight of a samurai's armor, both physical and spiritual. If you liked this video, please subscribe. I'd love to share the next chapter with you. The firelight flickers as Hiroshi sets down his katana, its polished blade reflecting the ember's glow. Ico's quiet presence beside him is a comfort, but the weight of his recent brush with shame still lingers, a reminder of the samurai's unforgiving path. Outside, the village sleeps under a starlit sky, the air cool with the scent of cedar. Tomorrow, Hiroshi will don his armor, not just to protect his body but to embody the duty that defines him. Tonight, we'll step into the world of the samurais. Armor, a masterpiece of craft and a symbol of the burdens he carries. Settle in, let the world fade, and let's explore the shocking rules that govern the gear of a warrior. Hiroshi rises before dawn, the air crisp and heavy with the promise of a new day. His home is quiet, save for the soft rustle of Iko preparing tea in the next room. He steps into the small storage chamber where his armor waits, its lacquered plates gleaming faintly in the lantern's light. The scent of polished wood and leather fills the space, grounding him. For a samurai in feudal Japan, from the Kamakura period's chaotic battles to the Edo era's structured peace, Armor was more than protection, it was a declaration of identity, a physical manifestation of bushido's demands. As Hiroshi prepares to wear it, he feels the weight of its rules, as strict as those governing his blade or his honor. The armor, called yoroi, is a work of art, crafted over months by skilled artisans. Hiroshi's set, passed down from his father, is a blend of function and beauty. Its chestplate, made of lacquered iron scales tied with silk cords, is strong enough to deflect a spear yet light enough for mobility. The helmet, with its menacing iron mask, bears the Takeda clan's crest, a crescent moon etched in gold. Each piece, from the shoulder guards to the shin protectors, is meticulously designed, weighing about 20 kilograms in total. As Hiroshi lifts the chest plate, its weight settles on his shoulders, a reminder of the duty it represents. Donning the armor is a ritual, governed by rules as precise as those of the forge. Hiroshi begins with the undergarments, a padded kimono to cushion the armor's edges. He ties each piece in a specific order: greaves first, then the thigh guards, the chest plate, and finally the helmet. The process takes 30 minutes, each knot tied with care, each plate aligned perfectly. A misstep, like a loose cord, could mean death in battle. A poorly fitted helmet might obscure his vision. In the Sengoku period, samurai like Oda Nobunaga relied on their armor's precision, with tales of warriors surviving arrow barrages thanks to well-crafted yoroi. Hiroshi checks each piece twice, his fingers tracing the silk cords, ensuring no flaw betrays him. The rules of armor extend beyond its wearing. It must be maintained with the same reverence as a katana. After every use, Hiroshi cleans the plates, with a soft cloth removing dust and sweat to prevent rust. He stores the armor on a wooden stand, elevated to honor its significance, the helmet facing outward as if guarding the room. The Edo period samurai manuals, like the Bushido, emphasize this care, warning that neglected armor dishonors the warrior and his lord. Hiroshi recalls a story of a samurai named Ito Masayoshi who in 1615 died when his rusted armor failed under a spear's thrust. The shame fell not just on him, but on his family, who lost their status. Hiroshi vows never to let carelessness tarnish his father's legacy. The armor also binds Hiroshi to his role in Takeda's service. Today he's been assigned to escort a diplomat through a mountain pass, a 40-kilometer journey to a neighboring clan's stronghold. The path is notorious for bandits, and the armor is his shield, but also a symbol. Its crest declares his allegiance, its weight a constant reminder of his oath. As he straps on the shoulder guards, Aiko watches, her hands still, her eyes betraying a flicker of worry. She knows the armor protects him, but also marks him as a target. In feudal Japan, samurai were often the first to fall in ambushes, their bright armor drawing enemy arrows like moths to a flame. The journey begins at sunrise, the diplomat's palanquin swaying between two bearers. Hiroshi rides ahead, his horse's hooves muffled by the dirt path. The armor clinks softly, its weight familiar now, though his shoulders ache after hours in the saddle. The rules of wearing it are strict. A samurai must move with grace, never slouching or complaining, for weakness invites disrespect. Hiroshi keeps his back straight, his gaze alert, scanning the pines for movement. The air is sharp with the scent of resin, the wind carrying whispers of distant streams. He recalls a tale from the Genpei War of 1180, when Minamoto no Yoshinaka led a charge in full yoroi, his armor gleaming as he rallied his men to victory. Hiroshi draws strength from such stories, though the reality of his task is less glorious: hours of vigilance, the constant threat of an unseen arrow. Midway through the pass, a rustle in the underbrush sets his heart racing. He signals his men, other samurai, their armor less ornate but equally functional, to halt. The diplomat, a nervous man named Kato, peers from the palanquin, his voice sharp with fear. Hiroshi dismounts, his hand on his katana, the armor's weight grounding him. The rules of bushido demand courage, but also caution. He moves silently, his helmet's mask muffling his breath, and finds only a deer, its eyes wide before it bolts. Relief washes over him, but he doesn't relax. The armor reminds him a samurai is always prepared, always watched. The diplomat's mission succeeds, and Hiroshi returns to the castle at dusk, the sky bruised with purple. He removes his armor. In the same order he donned it, each piece laid carefully on its stand. His muscles ache, his skin chafed where the plates pressed, but he feels alive. The armor a second skin that carried him through danger, yet its rules extend beyond the battlefield. In court, a samurai's armor must be spotless, its crest visible to honor his lord. Hiroshi once saw a samurai reprimanded for a scuffed chestplate, his lord deeming it a slight to the clan's prestige. In the Edo period, such details were law. The Bushido mandated that samurai present themselves as paragons, their appearance a reflection of their discipline. The armor also carries spiritual weight. Before a major battle, samurai purified their yoroi with salt and prayers, believing it housed protective spirits. Hiroshi performs this ritual monthly, sprinkling salt over the plates, whispering thanks to the ancestors who guide him. In 1336, during the Battle of Minatogawa, Kusunoki Masashige's armor was said to have deflected a fatal arrow, a miracle attributed to such rituals. Hiroshi doesn't fully believe these tales, but he follows the tradition, the act calming his mind like meditation. Yet the armor's burden is not just physical, it isolates Hiroshi, setting him apart from the villagers who till the fields or trade in the market. When he wears it, children stare, their awe tinged with fear. Aiko too feels its weight. Each time he dons it, she knows he may not return. The samurai's life is one of sacrifice, and the armor embodies that truth. In the Sengoku period, samurai families often sold land to afford yoroi, its cost equivalent to a year's harvesting them to their lord's service. Hiroshi's armor, inherited, is a gift and a chain, binding him to his father's path. As night settles, Hiroshi sits by the fire, polishing a scuff from his shoulder guard. The repetitive motion soothes him, much like his sword drills. He thinks of the diplomat, safe because of his vigilance, and feels a quiet pride. But the armor's rules are relentless. A samurai must be ready to dan it at a moment's notice, to face death without hesitation. In 1600, at Sekigahara, samurai like Fukushima Masanori fought in yoroi for days, their armor battered but unbroken, their resolve stronger than steel. Hiroshi aspires to that endurance. Though the human heart falters under such weight, the armor also shapes his identity in subtler ways. When he wears it, he's not just Hiroshi, he's a samurai, a symbol of Takeda's power. This role demands he suppress personal desires, even in small moments. At a village festival, he stands guard in his armor, unable to join the dances or laughter. A young woman offers him a rice cake, her smile warm, but he declines, the armor reminding him of his place. Bushido's rules are clear: duty before pleasure, honor before self. If you're enjoying this video, please subscribe. It means the world to keep these stories alive. Hiroshi stores his armor. It stands a silent sentinel in the corner. He lies down, Iso's warmth beside him, but sleep is slow to come. The armor protects him, but it also confines him. Its rules a constant reminder of the life he's chosen. Tomorrow, he'll rise again, ready to wear it, to carry its weight for his lord, his family, his honor. Next, we'll draw the bow, exploring the samurai's mastery of archery, a skill that demands patience as much as precision. The rules of the yume are as strict as those of the katana or yoroi, and they reveal a side of Hiroshi's life that balances strength with stillness. Join me as we uncover the way of the bow. The fire in Hiroshi's home burns low, its embers casting a soft glow as he lies beside Iko, the weight of his armor's rules still heavy in his thoughts. Outside, the night is quiet, the village wrapped in a blanket of stars, the air crisp, with the scent of pine. Dawn will bring new duties, new tests. But for now, Hiroshi's mind drifts to the training ground, where his bow awaits. The katana is his soul, the armor his shield. But the yumi, the samurai's bows, a tool of precision and patience, demanding a discipline that balances strength with stillness. Tonight, we'll follow Hiroshi as he draws the bow, exploring the shocking rules that govern this ancient art. Settle in, let the world fade, and let's uncover the way of the bow. Hiroshi wakes to the soft call of a rooster, the first light of dawn slipping through the paper screens of his home. He rises quietly, careful not to wake Aiko or their son, and steps into the cool morning air. The scent of dew-soaked grass mingles with the faint smoke of last night's fire. His daily rituals: purification, meditation, sword, a rhythm he knows by heart, but today, his focus is on archery. The yumi, a tall, asymmetrical bow crafted from bamboo and mulberry, is as much a part of his training as his katana. In feudal Japan, from the Kamakura period's mounted warriors to the Edo era's disciplined retainers, archery was a cornerstone of a samurai skill. Its rules as strict as any in bushido. He walks to the training ground, a flat expanse of earth 1 kilometer from the village, where straw targets stand 50 meters away. The yumi, leaning against a wooden rack, is nearly 2 meters long, its curve elegant yet powerful. Hiroshi lifts it, feeling its weight lighter than his armor but heavy with purpose. The bow is not just a weapon, it's a test of character, demanding precision, patience, and control. The rules of kujutsu, the art of archery, are unforgiving. A samurai must master not only the body but the mind. For a wavering heart misses the mark. Hiroshi begins with a ritual cleansing, sprinkling salt over the bow to honor its spirit. This act, rooted in Shinto tradition, is a reminder that every tool of the samurai is sacred. He then checks the bowstring, made of twisted hemp, ensuring it's taut and free of frays. A single flaw could snap the string mid-draw, a failure that could cost lives in battle. In the Genpei War of 1180, the legendary archer Nasu no Yoichi shot a fan from an enemy ship at sea, his arrow true despite the wind and waves. Such precision, Hiroshi knows, comes from years of disciplined practice, not chance. He stands before the target, feet planted firmly, the ground cool beneath his sandals. Drawing the yumi is a slow, deliberate act. The string resists, requiring strength to pull it back to his ear, his arms steady despite the strain. The rules demand perfect form. Spine straight, shoulders relaxed, eyes fixed on the target's center. Hiroshi breathes deeply, the air sharp with the scent of straw and earth. His first shot misses, the arrow embedding in the target's edge. He frowns, adjusting his stance. Bushido tolerates no imperfection. A samurai's arrow must fly true whether aimed at a target or an enemy's heart. The training is grueling. Hiroshi shoots 50 arrows, each draw a test of endurance, his fingers raw by the end. The yumi's power comes not from brute force, but from balance between tension and release, strength and finesse. He recalls a lesson from Taro, the scarred veteran. The bow teaches patience, rush, and you fail. In the Sengoku period, samurai archers often decided battles before swords were drawn. At the Battle of Nagashino in 1575, Oda Nobunaga's archers devastated an enemy cavalry with disciplined volleys, their precision turning the tide. Hiroshi strives for that mastery, though his arms tremble with each shot. Archery's rules extend beyond technique. A samurai must shoot with intent, each arrow a reflection of his honor. To fire carelessly is to disrespect the bow, the target, and the clan. Hiroshi once saw a young samurai overreach a loosened arrow that struck a bystander's cart. The man was stripped of his bow for a month, a punishment that shamed his family. The Bushido, the Edo period's samurai code, emphasized this discipline, mandating that archers train daily, their focus as sharp as their aim. Hiroshi feels this weight as he knocks another arrow, his mind clearing of all but the target. The bow also demands mental clarity. Before shooting, Hiroshi meditates briefly, kneeling by the training ground's edge. The morning mist curls around him, the air cool against his skin. He visualizes the arrow's path, a technique taught by Zen masters like Takuan Soho, who wrote in the 17th century that a samurai's mind must be a still pond, undisturbed by ripples. Doubt or anger can skew the shot. Hiroshi recalls a moment of frustration yesterday, when Isio's worry about his recent mission made him snap. The memory stings, but he lets it go, focusing on the target. The arrow flies, striking dead center. He exhales, a small victory midday. Hiroshi pauses to eat a simple meal of rice and pickled plums, shared with his fellow samurai at the training ground. They speak little, their bond forged in shared discipline. The yumi, like the katana, sets them apart from the villagers, who watch from a distance, their chatter a soft hum. Hiroshi notices a boy, no older than 10, mimicking his stance with a stick. He smiles, remembering his own childhood, when he dreamed of wielding a real bow. The rules forbid him from teaching the boy. Only samurai may learn kujutsu, but he nods encouragingly, a silent promise that effort is seen. The afternoon brings mounted archery, a skill that tests Hiroshi's balance and nerve. He rides his horse Kaze across the field, the yumi in one hand, reins in the other. The horse's hooves pound the earth, the wind carrying the scent of dust and leather. Drawing the bow while moving is a dance of coordination, the rules demanding flawless timing. Hiroshi's first shot misses, the arrow skimming the target's edge. He grits his teeth, recalling tales of the Kamakura period, when samurai like Minamoto no Yoritomo shot from galloping horses, their arrows felling enemies with surgical precision. Hiroshi tries again, his body swaying with Kaze's rhythm. The arrow hits true, and he feels a surge of pride. The yumi's rules also govern its use in battle. A samurai must know when to shoot and when to hold. In a skirmish, firing too soon could reveal a position. Waiting too long could cost lives. Hiroshi imagines facing bandits in a mountain pass, his bow drawn, waiting for the perfect moment. Historical accounts, like those of the Battle of Sekigahara in 1600, describe archers holding their fire until enemies were within 30 meters, ensuring maximum impact. Hiroshi practices this restraint, shooting only when his breath is steady, his heart calmed off. The bow also carries spiritual weight. Before major battles, samurai offered prayers to their yumi, believing it held the spirit of their ancestors. Hiroshi follows this tradition, whispering thanks to his bow at day's end, its bamboo warm from his hands. In 1185, during the Genpei War, Tira Nuachi Sumori's bow was said to have guided his final shot, striking an enemy before he fell. Hiroshi doesn't expect miracles, but the ritual centers him, tying him to the warriors who came before. As evening falls, Hiroshi returns home, his muscles aching but his mind clear. Aika greets him with tea, its steam curling in the cool air. She asks about his day, her voice soft, and he shares a small story of the boy with the stick. They laugh, a rare moment of lightness, but the yumi's rules linger. Hiroshi must maintain, the bow oiling its wood, checking the string's tension. Neglect could weaken it, just as neglect weakened his patrol, nearly costing his honor. He works by lantern light, the task meditative, like polishing his katana or donning his armor. The bow sets Hiroshi apart, but it also connects him to his clan. At a recent council, Takeda praised his archery, a rare acknowledgement that warmed Hiroshi's heart. Yet the rules forbid pride. A samurai's skill serves his lord, not his ego. In the Edo period, archers who boasted were disciplined, their bows confiscated to teach humility. Hiroshi keeps this in mind, his focus on duty, not glory. Night deepens, and Hiroshi lies down, the day's training a steady pulse in his body. The Yumi, like his katana and armor, is a tool of bushido, its rules shaping him into a warrior of precision and patience. But these skills are tested not just on the field, but in the heart where loyalty to his lord meets devotion to his family. The balance is fragile, and the next test will demand both. Next, we'll explore Hiroshi's divided heart, caught between his oath to Takeda and his love for Aiko and their son. The samurai's life is one of fealty, but family pulls with equal strength, and the rules governing this tension are as complex as any battle. Join me as we uncover the human side of a warrior's duty. The lantern's glow softens as Hiroshi sets down his Yumi, its bamboo still warm from the day's training. Aiso's laughter lingers in the air, a rare moment of warmth that eases the weight of his disciplined life. Outside, the village is hushed, the night air thick with the scent of cedar and distant rain. But as Hiroshi lies beside his wife and son, his heart pulls in two directions toward the oath that binds him to Daimyo, Takeda, and the love that anchors him to his family. Tonight, we'll walk with Hiroshi through the delicate balance of fealty and family, where the samurai's code demands loyalty to his lord but leaves room for the human heart. Settle in, let the world fade, and let's explore the shocking rules that govern a samurai's divided heart. Hiroshi wakes to the soft patter of rain on the roof, the dawn gray and heavy. He rises quietly, his movements practiced to avoid waking Aiko or their son Kenji, whose small chest rises and falls in sleep. The air smells of wet straw and the faint musk of tatami mats. As he begins his morning rituals, washing his hands in the stone basin, meditating before the family altar, his thoughts are split. His oath to Takeda is a chain of honor, forged in the hall where he knelt, but Aisio's gentle touch and Kenji's trusting gaze are a pull just as strong. In feudal Japan, from the Kamakura period's turbulent wars to the Edo era's rigid order, a samurai's loyalty to his lord was absolute, yet family was the heart of his world, and the rules balancing these bonds were as intricate as they were demanding. Bushido, the way of the warrior, places loyalty to one's lord above all else, but it does not erase the human need for connection. Hiroshi's role as a samurai requires him to serve Takeda without question, to risk his life in battle or patrol, to uphold the clan's honor at any cost. Yet as a husband and father, he carries a duty to protect Aiko and Kenji, to ensure their safety and future. These dual obligations clash in ways that test his resolve, forcing him to navigate a path where failure in one could unravel the other. The samurai's life, as the Hagakure teaches, is a balance of duty and devotion, but the heart often strains under its weight. Today, Hiroshi faces such a test. A messenger arrives mid-morning, his sandals muddy from a 30-kilometer ride. Takeda has summoned him for a critical task, to deliver a sealed letter to a rival lord, Saito, whose lands lie 50 kilometers east. The mission is urgent, requiring Hiroshi to leave at once and travel through a storm-swept pass known for bandits. The journey could take 3 days, and the risks are high: ambush, betrayal, or worse. Hiroshi nods, accepting the order. But his heart sinks. Kenji has been feverish for days, his small body hot and restless. Aiko has been tending to him, her eyes shadowed with worry, and the village healer warns that rare herbs found only in a market 20 kilometers away are needed to break the fever. Hiroshi stands in the doorway, rain dripping from the eaves, his katana and armor ready. Aiko meets his gaze, her hands clutching a cloth she's been using to cool Kenji's forehead. She doesn't speak, but her silence is a plea. The rules of Bushido are clear. Takeda's command comes first, and refusal is unthinkable. In the Sengoku period, samurai who prioritized family over duty faced exile or death. A tale from 1553 tells of a warrior named Takahashi Kenzo, who delayed a mission to care for his dying wife. His lord, deeming it disloyalty, stripped him of his status, leaving his family destitute. Hiroshi feels this history like a weight on his chest, but Kenji's weak cough echoes louder. He kneels beside his son, brushing a hand over his fevered brow. The boy stirs, murmuring, and Hiroshi's heart clenches. The samurai's code offers no explicit rule for this moment, but its principles honor compassion, duty. He could send a trusted friend to fetch the herbs, but the storm makes travel treacherous, and the market is far. He could defy Takeda, claiming illness, but such a lie would stain his honor and risk punishment. Historical records from the Edo period describe samurai who faced such choices, their decisions etched in family chronicles. 1. A retainer named Sato Hideo chose duty over his son's illness in 1650, only to return and find the boy gone. The guilt drove him to a monastery, his katana abandoned. Hiroshi makes a choice. He entrusts the herb gathering to Taro, the scarred veteran who trained him, promising to repay the favor. Taro, gruff but understanding, agrees. His own children grown but not forgotten. Hiroshi prepares for the mission, donning his armor with practiced care. The lacquered plates are a reminder of his oath. Aiko watches, her expression a mix of relief and fear. She ties a small charm-braided cord blessed at the village shrine around his wrist, a silent prayer for his return. The gesture is intimate, a reminder of the family he fights for, even as he rides for Takeda. The journey is grueling. Rain lashes the mountain pass, turning the path to mud. Hiroshi's horse, Kaze, trudges forward, its hooves sinking with each step. The armor, though protective, chafes against his wet kimono, and the yumi strapped to his saddle grows heavy. The rules of bushido demand he deliver the letter without delay, but they also require vigilance. He scans the misty hills, the air sharp with the scent of wet pine and earth. Bandits could lurk anywhere, and Saito's men might not welcome Takeda's envoy. In 1477, during the Onin War, a samurai named Hayashi Nobutake was ambushed carrying a similar message, his loyalty costing his life. Hiroshi grips his katana, ready for any shadow that moves. At Saito's castle, the reception is cold. The guards eye his Takeda crest with suspicion, and the lord himself, a stern man with graying hair, reads the letter in silence. Hiroshi stands, tall, his armor gleaming despite the journey's toll, as bushido demands. The letter, he learns, proposes an alliance against a mutual rival, but Saito's response is curt: he'll consider it. Hiroshi bows, hiding his frustration. The samurai's code forbids showing emotion in such moments. He is Takeda's face, not his own. As he leaves, a Saito retainer marks his muddy sandals, a slight that stings but must be ignored. The hawk warns, endure the small to protect the great. Hiroshi rides back, his mission complete but his heart heavy with worry for Kenji returning home. He finds Aiko at the door, her face lighting with relief. Taro delivered the herbs, and Kenji, fever has broken, his breathing steady now. Hiroshi kneels beside his son, gratitude flooding him, but the tension of his divided heart remains. The samurai's life allows little room for family, yet Aiko and Kenji are his anchor. Bushido's rules, while strict, permit compassion, and Hiroshi's choice to trust Taro was a balance of both duties. In the Edo period, samurai often relied on such networks, their comrades stepping in when family needs clashed with service. A record from 1680 tells of a samurai named Mori Takeyoshi, whose friend guarded his home during a long campaign, preserving both his honor and his family's safety. If you're enjoying this video, please subscribe. It means the world to keep these stories alive. Hiroshi's days continue, a cycle of training, patrols, and quiet moments with Aiko, but the balance is fragile. Each mission pulls him from home. Each night with his family risks softening his resolve. He teaches Kenji small things: how to hold a wooden sword, how to bow properly, knowing these are steps toward a samurai's life, one that may one day tear his son from him as it does now. Aiko, too, lives by unspoken rules, maintaining the home, supporting Hiroshi without complaint, though her eyes betray her fears. In feudal Japan, samurai wives were pillars of strength, their sacrifices unrecorded but vital. A chronicle from the Muromachi period mentions a woman named Oichi who managed her husband's estate during his campaigns, her resilience upholding their honor. As night falls, Hiroshi sits by the fire, polishing his katana, the repetitive motion soothing. Aiko mends a tear in his kimono, her needle flashing in the light. They speak softly, sharing fears they cannot voice in daylight. The samurai's code binds Hiroshi to Takeda, but love binds him to Aiko and Kenji, and the rules of both are relentless. He wonders how long he can walk this line, how long his heart can bear the strain. Next, we'll march into battle with Hiroshi, where the samurai's skill, sword, bow, armor are tested in the chaos of war. The rules of combat are as brutal as they are strategic, demanding not just courage but sacrifice. Join me as we uncover the art of war and the human cost it exhibits. The fire's warmth lingers as Hiroshi sets down his katana. Ico's steady stitches a quiet rhythm beside him. Their shared moment, a fragile bridge between duty and love, fades as dawn approaches, bringing the call of his lord. Outside, the village sleeps under a sky heavy with clouds, the air thick with the scent of rain-soaked earth. Hiroshi's heart, torn between fealty to Daimyo Takeda and devotion to his family, now faces a greater test: the battlefield. Tonight, we'll march with him into the chaos of war, where the samurai's skills, sword, bow, armor are forged into strategy, and the rules of combat demand sacrifices as profound as any oath. Settle in, let the world fade, and let's explore the shocking art of war. The rain has stopped, leaving the air cool and damp as Hiroshi rises, the gray light of dawn filtering through the paper screens. Aiko stirs her eyes, heavy with unspoken worry, but she says nothing as he prepares. A messenger arrived in the night, his voice urgent. Takeda's scouts report a rival clan, the Mori, gathering forces 30 kilometers west, near a river valley. War is brewing, and Hiroshi is summoned to join a campaign to repel the threat. His katana, yumi, and armor polished and purified wait in the corner, their weight a reminder of the rules that govern a samurai in battle. In feudal Japan, from the Sengoku period's endless conflicts to the Edo era's rare but brutal clashes, war was the ultimate test of bushido, demanding strategy, courage, and sacrifice. Hiroshi dons his armor with care, each lacquered plate tied with silk cords, the Takeda crest gleaming on his helmet. The ritual, practiced daily, feels heavier today, the air thick with the scent of leather and clove oil. Aiko hands him a small rice ball wrapped in bamboo leaves, her fingers brushing his. Kenji, still recovering, sleeps soundly, unaware of the danger his father faces. The rules of bushido are clear. A samurai's duty to his lord comes before all, even family. Yet as Hiroshi steps outside, the memory of Isio's touch lingers, a tether to the life he fights for. The march to the valley is grueling, a 20-kilometer trek through muddy paths and dense forests. Hiroshi rides with 50 samurai, their armor clinking in rhythm with their horses' hooves. Taro, the scarred veteran, rides beside him, his face set like stone. The air smells of wet pine and the faint metallic thames of polished steel. Takeda leads the column, his Banara crimson moon on black silk fluttering in the wind. The samurai's code demands absolute obedience in war. Hiroshi must follow orders without question, even if they lead to death. Historical accounts, like those of the Battle of Kawanakajima in 1561, describe samurai charging into certain defeat at their lord's command, their loyalty unwavering. Hiroshi grips his reins, steeling himself for what lies ahead. At the valley's edge, Takeda gathers his men in a clearing. The rivers roar a distant hum. The Mori outnumber them, their scouts spotted across the water, their banners dotting the opposite bank. Takeda's strategy is bold, a feigned retreat to lure the Mori across the river, followed by a flanking attack. Hiroshi's role is critical, leads a small unit of archers to cover the retreat, using his yumi to slow the enemy's advance. The rules of war are strict, precision is paramount, hesitation fatal. A missed shot could expose his men, a premature volley could ruin the plan. In 1575, at Nagashino, Oda Nobunaga's archers turned to battle with disciplined fire, their arrows cutting down cavalry like scythes through wheat. Hiroshi feels the weight of that legacy as he checks his bowstring. It's hemp-taut and ready. The battle begins at dawn. The sky bruised with clouds. The Mori charge across the river, their shouts echoing as they splash through shallow waters. Hiroshi kneels behind a ridge, his archers hidden in the brush. The air is thick with the scent of mud and sweat, the tension palpable. He nocks an arrow, his breath steady, eyes locked on the advancing enemy. The rules of Kujutsu demand calm. A racing heart skews the shot. He waits, counting heartbeats, until the Mori are within 40 meters. Now he whispers, and his men loose their arrows. The volley arcs through the air, striking armor and flesh, sowing chaos. The Mori falter, but more press forward, their spears glinting. Takeda's feigned retreat works. The Mori pursue, crossing the river in force. Hiroshi's unit fires again, arrows thinning the enemy ranks, but the plan shifts. Takeda signals the flank attack and Hiroshi must join the melee. He slings his yumi and draws his katana, its blade a silver flash in the dim light. The rules of close combat are brutal. Strike swiftly, aim for vital points, show no mercy. Hiroshi charges with his men, the clash of steel ringing like a storm. He cuts down a Mori warrior, the man's eyes wide with shock, blood staining the mud. The act is swift, but the weight lingers. Each kill, even in war, tests a samurai's soul. The battle rages for hours, the valley a chaos of shouts, clanging swords and the thud of arrows. Hiroshi fights with precision, his training guiding his movements. His armor deflects a glancing spear, its lacquered plates holding firm, but a cut on his arm stings, blood seeping through his sleeve. The rules forbid retreat unless ordered, and Hiroshi presses on, his katana a blur. He recalls a story from the Anin War of 1467, when a samurai named Ota Nobumasa fought until his armor was shattered, his loyalty earning his clan's survival. Hiroshi draws strength from this, ignoring the pain, his focus on protecting his men and Takeda's honor. A critical moment comes when Taro is surrounded, his horse felled by an arrow. Hiroshi rushes to his side, cutting through 2 enemies to free him. Taro, gasping, nods in thanks, but there's no time for words. The Mori begin to waver, their lines breaking under Takeda's flank attack. By midday the enemy retreats, leaving the valley littered with bodies and broken banners. Takeda's men cheer, but Hiroshi feels no joy. War for a samurai is duty, not glory. The rules demand he honor the fallen, even enemies, for they too fought with courage. He kneels by a dead Mori warrior, closing the man's eyes, a gesture rooted in Bushido's respect for all who face death. The cost of battle is heavy. Hiroshi's unit loses 3 men, their bodies carried back for burial. He visits their families, bowing low, his armor still stained with mud. The rules of Bushido require him to take responsibility, to share their grief. One widow, her face pale, accepts his condolences but says nothing, her silence sharper than a blade. In the Sengoku period, such losses were common. Chronicles from 1543 describe clans decimated by single battles, their samurai mourned but replaced. Hiroshi feels this weight, knowing his survival is a fragile gift. If you're enjoying this video, please subscribe. It means the world to keep these stories alive. Back at the castle, Takeda praises the victory, his voice steady but tired. Hiroshi's role in the archery and melee earns a nod, a rare honor, but the rules forbid pride. He returns home at dusk, the sky clearing to reveal a crescent moon. Aiko rushes to him, her hands checking his wound, her relief palpable. Kenji, now stronger, clings to his leg, and Hiroshi lifts him, the boy's warmth easing the battle's chill. Yet the rules linger. He must clean his armor, sharpen his katana, prepare for the next call. War is not an event but a constant shadow, and a samurai's life is tethered to it. Hiroshi sits by the fire, bandaging his arm as Aiko prepares tea. The scent of chamomile fills the room, a brief respite. He tells her of the battle, his voice low, sparing the worst details. She listens, her strength a mirror of his own, though her role is to wait, to endure. The samurai's family, too, lives by rules, silent, unspoken, but as binding as bushido in the Edo period. Wives like Aiko were expected to maintain the home, raise warriors, and accept loss without complaint. A record from 1670 tells of a woman named Hannah, who rebuilt her family after her husband's death in battle. Her resilience uncelebrated but vital. The battle has changed Hiroshi. He sees the fragility of life, the cost of each choice. The rules of war demand strategy, feints, volleys, charges, but also sacrifice. He thinks of Taro, saved by his blade, and the Mori warrior whose eyes he closed. Both are part of him now, woven into the tapestry of his duty. He wonders how many more battles he'll face, how many more scars he'll carry for his lord and his family. Next we'll step into the quiet of Hiroshi's spiritual path, where Zen and Bushido intertwine to offer peace amidst violence. The rules of meditation and faith are as strict as those of war, guiding a samurai to face death with clarity. Join me as we explore the silent resolves that shape a warrior's soul. The fire's embers glow softly as Hiroshi sips Iko's chamomile tea, the scent soothing the ache of battle scars. The weight of the valley fight lingers, blood on his blade, the faces of fallen foes, the relief of holding Kenji again. Outside, the village rests under a crescent moon, the air cool with the promise of autumn. But even in this quiet, Hiroshi's mind churns, seeking peace amidst the violence that defines his life. Tonight, we'll kneel with him in the stillness of meditation, where Zen and Bushido weave a path to clarity. The samurai's spiritual rules, as strict as those of war, demand a heart as steady as his sword. Settle in, let the world fade, and let's explore the silent resolves that shape a warrior's soul. Hiroshi wakes before dawn, the air sharp with the scent of dew and cedar. Aiko and Kenji sleep soundly, their breaths a soft rhythm in the darkened room. His arm, bandaged from the battle, throbs faintly, but the deeper wound is in his mind, the memory of steel meeting flesh, the chaos of war. As a samurai in feudal Japan, from the Kamakura period's warrior monks to the Edo era's disciplined retainers, Hiroshi's life is bound by Bushido, but it's Zen that offers solace. The spiritual path, with its rules of meditation and mindfulness, is as vital as his katana, guiding him to face death, duty, and doubt with a still heart. He steps outside, the grass cool beneath his sandals, and walks to a small grove 100 meters from the village. A stone Buddha sits beneath a cherry tree, its surface worn by centuries of rain. The air smells of moss and damp earth, a grounding presence as Hiroshi kneels, his katana resting beside him. Zen Buddhism, embraced by samurai since the 13th century, teaches detachment, freedom from fear, desire, and ego. The rules are strict. A samurai must meditate daily, seeking clarity to align his actions with Bushido's virtues. Hiroshi closes his eyes, focusing on his breath, the world fading to a single point of stillness. Meditation is no mere ritual. It's a discipline as rigorous as sword drills. Hiroshi's mind wanders to the Mori warrior he killed, to Ico's worried eyes, to Kenji's fragile health. Each thought is a ripple, threatening his calm. The Hogakure, a 17th century samurai text, advises, the mind must be like a mirror, clear and unclouded. He breathes deeply, letting distractions drift like leaves on a stream. Historical records like those of Zen master Takuan Soho describe samurai meditating before battles, their clarity sharpening their blades. In 1600, at Sekigahara, Tokugawa Ieyasu.com strategy, honed by Zen, secured his victory. Hiroshi seeks that strength, though the human heart resists. The rules of Zen demand presence. Hiroshi spends 30 minutes in zazen, knees aching on the cold ground, his back straight, despite the urge to shift. He visualizes a void, empty yet infinite, a practice taught by the monks of Kamakura's Engakuji temple. This void is not escape but acceptance of death, of duty, of life. Bushido requires a samurai to be ready to die at any moment, whether in battle or by seppuku. Zen makes this possible, stripping fear to reveal resolve. Hiroshi recalls a story of a samurai named Yamamoto Tsunetomo who, in the Edo period, meditated daily to prepare for death, his heart unburdened by regret. Yet meditation is only part of the spiritual path. Hiroshi visits the village temple weekly, a wooden structure perched on a hill 2 kilometers away. The air inside is thick with incense, its sandalwood scent mingling with the hum of a monk's chant. He offers prayers to his ancestors, their spirits believed to guide him. The rules of Shinto woven into samurai life demand respect for these spirits, who watch over clan and family. Hiroshi lights a candle, its flame steady, and asks for wisdom to balance his duties to Takeda and Aiko in the Muromachi period. Samurai like Ashikaga Takuji built shrines to honor ancestors, their faith a shield against war's chaos. Hiroshi feels this connection, his prayers a bridge to the past. The spiritual rules also govern conduct. Zen teaches compassion, even for enemies. Hiroshi thinks of the Mori warrior, whose eyes he closed in the valley. Bushido permits killing and duty, but Zen urges reflection. He wonders about the man's life, his family, his hopes and feels a pang of sorrow. The rules require him to honor his foe's courage, a practice rooted in the Sengoku period's warrior ethos. A chronicle from 1560 tells of a samurai named Uesugi Kenshin who sent salt to a rival clan during a siege, respecting their struggle. Hiroshi strives for this balance, though the weight of each death lingers. Midday, Hiroshi returns home, his meditation grounding him for the day's duties. Takeda has tasked him with inspecting the castle's defenses, a routine but vital role. He walks the walls, 5 kilometers of stone and wood, noting cracks and weak points. The air smells of dust and pine, the sun warm on his armor. Zen's clarity sharpens his focus. He spots a loose gate hinge that could fail in an attack. The rules of Bushido demand diligence, but Zen adds mindfulness, making every task a meditation. In the Edo period, samurai like Yagyu Munenor, a swordsman, and Zen practitioner, applied this to strategy. Their decisions precise as a blade's edged at home. Aiko notices his calm, her smile soft as she serves rice and miso soup. Kenji, now stronger, toddles toward him, offering a clumsy bow that makes Hiroshi laugh. These moments are precious, but the spiritual rules temper his joy. Attachment, Zen teaches, is a chain. A samurai must love without clinging, ready to lose, all for duty. Hiroshi struggles with this, his heart tethered to Aiko and Kenji. Historical accounts describe samurai who left families behind. Their farewells stoic but their hearts heavy. In 1336, Kusunoki Masashige parted from his son before a doomed battle, his Zen-trained resolve hiding his grief. Hiroshi prays he never faces such a choice. Evening brings another meditation, this time by the fire. Hiroshi kneels, the room filled with a scent of burning cedar. He focuses on a koan, a Zen riddle. What is the sound of one hand clapping? The question, meant to break logical thought, frustrates him. His mind drifts to the battle, to Taro's near death, to the Mori warrior's face. He breathes, letting the koan guide him to stillness. The rules of Zen demand patience. Enlightenment is not forced but found. A tale from the Kamakura period speaks of a samurai named Hojo Tokimune, who faced Mongol invaders with Zenborn.com, his clarity saving Japan. Hiroshi aspires to that peace, though doubt gnaws at him. The spiritual path also shapes his interactions. At the temple, Hiroshi meets a monk named Aji, whose shaved head and calm eyes radiate quiet strength. Aji teaches him to see Bushido through Zen. Loyalty is not blind, but mindful. Courage is not reckless, but deliberate. The rules forbid questioning Takeda's orders, but Zen allows Hiroshi to question himself. He recalls his near failure with the bandit raid, the shame that followed. Aji's words echo, failure as a teacher, not a master. This perspective, rare in the rigid world of feudal Japan, gives Hiroshi hope, though the rules of Bushido remain unyielding. If you're enjoying this video, please subscribe. It means the world to keep these stories alive. Night falls, and Hiroshi joins Iko by the fire, Kenji asleep in her arms. They speak softly, her voice a balm to his restless mind. The spiritual rules, while strict, offer balance between the violence of his role and the love that sustains him. He thinks of the grove, the Buddha's serene face, and feels a flicker of peace. Zen teaches that life is fleeting, like cherry blossoms falling in spring. Hiroshi holds this truth, knowing each moment with his family is a gift, yet each duty to Takeda is a necessity. The samurai's spiritual path is not solitary. At the temple, Hiroshi sees other samurai, their heads bowed, seeking the same clarity. In the Sengoku period, warrior monks fought alongside samurai, their Zen training blending with martial skill. A record from 1546 describes a monk named Seshu, who taught samurai to face death with equanimity, their bows steady despite fear. Hiroshi draws on this, his meditations a shield against war's toldot as he lies down. The fire's embers fading, Hiroshi feels the weight of his path. The rules of Zen and Bushido demand a life of discipline, but also of surrender to duty, to fate, to the impermanence of all things. He wonders if he'll find true peace, or if the samurai's life is a constant dance between chaos and calm. Next, we'll step into moments of peace, where Hiroshi's role shifts from warrior to host, bound by the rules of hospitality. The samurai's life is not all war. In quiet times, he serves his lord through grace and ritual, revealing a warmth that belies his blade. Join me as we uncover the code of hospitality. The ember's glow fades as Hiroshi lies beside Aiko, the quiet of their home a fragile contrast to the Zen stillness he sought in meditation. The village slumbers under a sky dusted with stars, the air heavy with the scent of autumn leaves and distant smoke. His spiritual path offers clarity, but it's in moments of peace that Hiroshi's role as a samurai shifts, revealing a gentler side bound by rules as precise as those of war. Tonight we'll sit with him in the warmth of hospitality, where the samurai's code transforms him from warrior to host, weaving grace into duty. Settle in, let the world fade, and let's explore the surprising rules that govern a samurai's life in times of calm. Morning light filters through the paper screens, casting soft shadows across the tatami mats. Hiroshi rises, the air cool, with the scent of dew and cedar. Aiko is already up, preparing rice porridge, its steam curling in the quiet kitchen. Kenji, now fully recovered, babbles happily, tugging at Hiroshi's sleeve. The memory of Battle of Meditation's calm lingers, but today brings a different duty. Daimyo Takeda has summoned Hiroshi to the castle to host a visiting envoy from a neutral clan, the Asano, whose lands lie 40 kilometers south. In feudal Japan, from the Kamakura period's uneasy truces to the Edo era's rigid etiquette, a samurai's role in peace was as vital as in war, governed by a code of hospitality that demanded grace, restraint, and vigilance. Hiroshi prepares, with care, donning a formal kimono, its indigo silk embroidered with the Takeda crest. The rules of hospitality are strict. A samurai must present himself as an extension of his lord's honor, his appearance flawless, his demeanor serene. He checks his katana sheathed at his side, not for combat but as a symbol of his status. The blade, polished to a mirror's shine, reflects the lantern's glow, its presence a reminder of bushido even in peace. In the Edo period, the Bukushihato mandated that samurai uphold decorum in all interactions, their conduct shaping alliances as much as battles. Hiroshi feels this weight as he kisses Aiko and Kenji goodbye, promising to return by nightfall. Castle, 2 kilometers from the village, hums with activity. Servants sweep the courtyard, their brooms whispering against stone, while the air carries the scent of polished wood and chrysanthemums. Hiroshi joins Taro and 2 other samurai in a reception hall, its walls adorned with scrolls of calligraphy. Takeda briefs them the Asano envoy Lord Yamada seeks trade terms for rice and silk. The meeting is delicate. A misstep could sour relations, weakening Takeda's position. Hiroshi's role is to serve tea and observe. His silence is important. As his actions, rules of hospitality demand he anticipate needs, speak sparingly, and watch for hidden intentions. For even in peace, a samurai is a guardian. The tea ceremony, a cornerstone of samurai hospitality, is a ritual of precision. Hiroshi kneels on a tatami mat, the air warm with the scent of matcha and cedar. He prepares the tea with deliberate movements, whisking the green powder into a froth, each gesture practiced to honor the guest. The rules, rooted in Zen, require mindfulness. A spilled drop or hasty motion dishonors the host and lord. In the Muromachi period, samurai like Yoshimasa elevated the tea ceremony to an art, using it to forge alliances. Hiroshi's hands are steady, but his mind is alert, watching Yamada's expression for signs of displeasure or deceit. Yamada, a wiry man with sharp eyes, accepts the tea with a nod, his silk robes rustling. He speaks of trade, his tone polite, but probing, testing Takeda's strength. Hiroshi listens, his katana a silent reminder of his duty to protect. Even here, the rules forbid drawing a blade in such settings unless provoked, but a samurai must be ready. A story from 1582 tells of a samurai named Akechi Mitsuhide who hosted a tea ceremony only to uncover a plot against his lord, his vigilance saved the clan, though his own fate was darker. Hiroshi scans the room, noting the envoy's retainers, their hands never far from their own swords. The ceremony ends, and the discussion moves to a garden overlooking a koi pond, its water rippling under a soft breeze. Hiroshi serves sake, pouring it into lacquered cups with care. The rules of hospitality extend to every act. The sake must be warm, not hot, the pour smooth, not rushed. Yamada compliments the garden, but his questions about Takeda's harvest are pointed, seeking weaknesses. Hiroshi responds with practiced neutrality, his words measured to reveal nothing. Bushido demands sincerity, but also discretion. A samurai in peace is a diplomat, his tongue as sharp as his blade. Midday brings a shared meal: rice, grilled fish, pickled radish, served on low tables. Hiroshi kneels beside Taro, ensuring the guests' plates are filled. The rules require humility. A samurai never eats before his guests, never speaks unless addressed. Yet he must remain vigilant, watching for slights or threats. In the Sengoku period, banquets were often stages for betrayal. A chronicle from 1560 describes a samurai named Wasugi no Ramasa, poisoned at a feast by a rival posing as an ally. Hiroshi's eyes flicker to Yamada's retainers, their laughter too loud, their hands too casual. He trusts Takeda's guards, but keeps his katana close. The meeting ends with an agreement. The Asano will trade silk for rice, Strengthening both clans, Yamada departs, his smile polite but guarded. Takeda nods to Hiroshi, a rare acknowledgement of his restraint. The rules of hospitality have been upheld, the clan's honor intact. Hiroshi feels a quiet pride, but also relief. Peace is a battlefield of its own, where words cut as deeply as swords. As he walks home, the sun low and golden, the air smells of damp earth and blooming asters, a reminder of the world beyond duty. At home, Aiko greets him with a smile, Kenji toddling forward with a wooden toy. The warmth of their presence eases the day's tension, but the rules of hospitality linger. Hiroshi tells Aiko of the tea ceremony, mimicking Yamada's stiff bow, and they laugh, the sound a bomb. Yet even here bushido governs. A samurai's home is an extension of his lord's domain. Aiko, too, follows unspoken rules, keeping the house orderly, the altar purified, ready to host if Takeda calls. In the Edo period, samurai wives were expected to mirror their husbands' decorum, their grace reflecting the clan's strength. A record from 1670 tells of a woman named Yuki who hosted a daimyo's wife with such poise that it secured her husband's promotion. Hiroshi's role as host is rare but recurring. Last month, he welcomed a traveling monk, offering rice and shelter, his questions about Zen deepening his own practice. The rules required generosity, even to strangers, for hospitality reflects Bushido's benevolence. Yet they also demand caution. A guest could be a spy. In 1543, a samurai named Amago Haruhisa welcomed a merchant, only to find he was scouting for a rival clan. The betrayal cost lives, a lesson Hiroshi keeps close as he opens his door to others. If you're enjoying this video, please subscribe. It means the world to keep these stories alive. Evening falls, and Hiroshi sits with Aiko by the fire, Kenji asleep between them. The scent of cedar smoke fills the room, grounding him. He reflects on the day, the delicate dance of hospitality revealing a side of Bushido that balances strength with grace. Yet peace is fleeting. Takeda's alliance with the Asano is fragile, and rumors of unrest stir in the west. The samurai's life, even in calm, is a preparation for conflict, its rules ever present. Hiroshi wonders about the future. Kenji's laughter, Isio's strength, the clan's stability, the rules of hospitality, have taught him to see others' humanity, even in a world of suspicion. But they also remind him of his place. A samurai serves, whether with a blade or a teacup, his heart divided but resolute. Next, we'll face the darkest hour, where Hiroshi's loyalty is tested by betrayal and the path to redemption is fraught with peril. The rules of Bushido offer no mercy for disloyalty, yet the human heart seeks forgiveness. Join me as we explore the shadows that challenge a samurai's soul. The cedar smoke curls upward as Hiroshi sits by the fire, Isio's quiet presence a steady anchor in the flicker of the flames. Kenji's soft breathing fills the room, a reminder of the family he serves alongside his lord. Outside, the autumn night wraps the village in a chill, the air heavy with the scent of fallen leaves and distant rain. The calm of hospitality, the grace of the tea ceremony, feels like a fleeting dream as whispers of unrest reach Hiroshi's ears. Tonight, we'll walk with him through the shadow of betrayal, where the samurai's code offers no mercy, yet the heart seeks redemption. Settle in, let the world fade, and let's explore the shocking rules that test a warrior's soul in its darkest hour. The dawn is gray, the sky heavy with clouds as Hiroshi rises, the air sharp with the scent of damp earth. Aiko prepares rice, porridge, her hands steady but her eyes shadowed with unease. The village has been quiet since the Asano envoy's visit, but rumors swirl of trouble in Takeda's lands. A messenger arrives mid-morning, his face pale, summoning Hiroshi to the castle. The urgency in his voice stirs a knot in Hiroshi's gut, a premonition of something dire. In feudal Japan, from the Sengoku period's treacherous alliances to the Edo era's rigid hierarchies, betrayal was a poison that could undo a samurai, his lord, and his family. The rules of Bushido demand unwavering loyalty, but the human heart can falter, and Hiroshi is about to face this truth at the castle. 2 kilometers away, the air is thick with tension. The courtyard, usually bustling, is eerily still, the scent of polished stone and pine mingling with the dampness of the morning. Takeda sits in the great hall, his face a mask of controlled fury, flanked by Taro and other senior samurai. The issue is grave. A trusted retainer, Kenta, Hiroshi's childhood friend, has been caught passing information to the Mori clan, the same enemy they fought in the valley. Letters, sealed with Kenta's mark, were found in a scout's possession, detailing Takeda's defenses. The betrayal threatens the clan's survival, and Hiroshi, as Kenta's friend, summoned to bear witness and to act. Hiroshi kneels, his katana heavy at his side, his heart racing. Kenta, the boy who sparred with him as children, who shared sake and laughter, now stands accused of treason. The rules of Bushido are merciless. Betrayal is the gravest sin, punishable by death, often by seppuku to cleanse the dishonor. Takeda's voice is cold as he orders Hiroshi to interrogate Kenta to uncover the truth. "Your loyalty is to me," he says, his eyes piercing. "Prove it." Hiroshi nods, but his mind reels. The code demands he serve without question. But His heart aches for his friend, whose family, his wife and 2 daughters, will suffer for his actions. Kenta is held in a small room, its walls bare, the air thick with the scent of mildew and fear. His wrists are bound, his face haggard, but his eyes meet Hiroshi's with a mix of defiance and shame. "I had no choice," Kenta whispers, his voice breaking. He speaks of debts, a failed harvest, and threats from Mori spies who promised gold for his family's survival. Hiroshi listens, his katana a silent judge at his side. The rules forbid mercy for traitors, yet Zen's teachings urge compassion. Historical accounts, like those of the Sengoku period, tell of samurai torn by such choices. In 1578, a warrior named Akachi Mitsuhide betrayed his lord, Oda Nobunaga, driven by ambition and fear. His name became a curse, his family shunned. Hiroshi dreads this fate for Kenta's daughters. He presses Kenta for details: names, meeting places, the extent of the betrayal. Kenta confesses, his voice low. He passed maps of Takeda's western border, hoping to buy time for his family. The information led to a Mori raid, small but damaging, costing the clan resources and lives. Hiroshi's heart sinks, remembering the valley battle, the men he lost. The rules of Bushido demand he report Kenta's confession, condemning his friend to death. Yet he thinks of Aiko, of Kenji, of the fragile balance he's fought to maintain. Could he lie, claim Kenta was coerced, and spare him? The Hagakure warns. A samurai who bends the truth bends his honor. Hiroshi feels the weight of this, his loyalty to Takeda clashing with his bond to Kenta. He returns to Takeda, kneeling in the hall, the air heavy with incense and tension. He reports the truth, Kenta's betrayal, driven by desperation, not malice. Takeda listens, his face unreadable, then orders Kenta to perform seppuku at dawn. Hiroshi is tasked with acting as Kishakunin II, who delivers the mercy blow to end the ritual suicide. The role is an honor, but also a burden. Hiroshi must kill his friend to uphold Bushido in the Muromachi period. Such duties were common. A record from 1428 describes a samurai named Mori Yasutake who served as Kishakunin for his brother, his heart breaking but his blade steady. Hiroshi prays for that strength, though his hands tremble. The night before the ritual, Hiroshi visits Kenta's family, a small house 5 kilometers from the castle. Kenta's wife Ime greets him, her eyes red from tears. Their daughters cling to her, unaware of their father's fate. Hiroshi bows, offering rice and coin, a gesture of compassion within Bushido's bounds. Emi's silence cuts deeper than words, her grief a mirror of what Aiko might feel if Hiroshi fell. The rules of Bushido extend to families. Emi will lose status, her daughter's futures dimmed by Kenta's shame. Hiroshi leaves, the weight of their loss heavy on his shoulders, the air thick with the scent of rain and sorrow. At dawn, the ritual takes place in a secluded courtyard, the ground damp from last night's rain. Kenta kneels, his kimono white, the color of death. A small crowd Takeda Taro, a few retainers watches in silence. Hiroshi stands behind Kenta, his katana drawn, his heart pounding. The rules of seppuku are precise. Kenta must plunge a short blade into his abdomen, proving his courage, while Hiroshi ensures a swift end. Kenta's hands shake, but he speaks, his voice steady. "Forgive me, Hiroshi, protect them." He cuts, a gasp escaping him, and Hiroshi swings, his blade clean and true. Kenta's body slumps, the air heavy with the scent of blood and wet stone. Hiroshi cleans his katana, the ritual's rules demanding he show no emotion. Takeda nods, his approval cold but final. The betrayal is cleansed, the clan's honor restored, but Hiroshi feels no victory. The rules of Bushido demand loyalty, but the cost is a piece of his soul. He thinks of Kenta's daughters, of Aiko waiting at home, and vows to redeem this moment through duty. In the Edo period, samurai often sought redemption through service, their lives a penance for others' failures. A chronicle from 1650 tells of a samurai named Sato Hideo who, after losing a comrade to betrayal, dedicated his life to his lord's safety, rebuilding his honor. If you're enjoying this video, please subscribe. It means the world to keep these stories alive. Hiroshi returns home at dusk, the sky streaked with crimson. Aiko greets him, her eyes searching his face. She doesn't ask about Kenta, sensing the wound, but her touch is gentle as she bandages his arm, still sore from the valley battle. Kenji toddles forward, offering a clumsy hug, and Hiroshi holds him tightly, the boy's warmth a balm. The rules of Bushido spared no mercy for Kenta, but they allow Hiroshi to protect his family, to serve Takeda with renewed resolve. He sits by the fire, polishing his katana, the repetitive motion grounding him. Aiko joins him, her silence a shared strength, their bond a light in the shadow of betrayal. The village moves on, but Hiroshi carries Kenta's memory, a reminder of loyalty's cost. He trains harder, his sword drills sharper, his meditations deeper, seeking the Zen clarity that keeps him whole. The rules of Bushido are unrelenting, but redemption is possible through action, through proving his worth to Takeda and Aiko. He thinks of the Mori, still a threat, and wonders if Kenta's betrayal has weakened the clan further. His next mission, whatever it may be, will be a chance to restore balance. Next, we'll weave the threads of Hiroshi's journey into a final reflection, exploring the legacy of the samurai and how their rules echo in modern Japan. The code of bushido, forged in blood and honor, leaves a mark that time cannot erase. Join me as we uncover the enduring impact of a samurai's life. The fire's embers dim as Hiroshi sets down his katana, its blade gleaming in the fading light. Isio's quiet strength beside him, Kenji's soft snores in the corner, offer a fleeting peace after the shadow of Kenta's betrayal. Outside, the autumn night cloaks the village, the air crisp with a scent of fallen leaves and distant cedar smoke. Hiroshi's journey through oaths, battles, and the weight of bushido has tested his soul, yet it weaves into a larger tapestry, one that stretches beyond his life. Tonight, we'll reflect with him on the samurai's legacy, how their rules of honor, discipline, and sacrifice echo through time to shape modern Japan. Settle in, let the world fade, and let's explore the enduring impact of a warrior's life. The morning sun rises, casting a golden glow across the village, its thatched roofs glistening with dew. Hiroshi wakes, the air cool and sharp with a scent of pine and damp earth. Aiko is already stirring, preparing tea, its chamomile steam curling in the quiet room. Kenji, now strong and curious, plays with a wooden sword, mimicking her drills. The pain of Kenta's betrayal lingers, a scar on Hiroshi's heart, but duty calls him forward. As he steps outside, his katana at his side, he feels the weight of his path not just as a samurai, but as part of a legacy that has shaped Japan for centuries. In feudal Japan, from the Kamakura period's rise in the 12th century to the Edo era's twilight in the 19th, the samurai were more than warriors. They were the soul of a nation, their rules leaving echoes that resonate today. Hiroshi walks to the training ground, a kilometer from his home where the straw targets stand ready for his yumi. The air hums with the rhythm of his daily rituals: purification, meditation, sword drills. But today, he pauses to reflect. The rules of bushido, forged in the fire of his oath to daimyo Takeda, have guided every step: loyalty, honor, discipline, courage, compassion. They've carried him through battles, like the valley clash with the Mori, and through personal trials, like Kenta's fall. Yet these rules are not his alone. They belong to a lineage of samurai whose lives, sacrifices, and values have left an indelible mark on Japan's culture. Even in the modern world of 2025, the samurai's legacy begins with their code. Bushido, the way of the warrior, was not just a personal ethic but a societal framework. Hiroshi thinks of his oath, spoken in Takeda's hall, binding him to his lord's will. This loyalty shaped feudal Japan, where clans like the Min and Taira rose or fell on the strength of their samurai's devotion. Historical records, like those of the Genpei War in 1180, show how loyalty turned tides, with warriors like Minamoto no Yoshitsune securing victories through unwavering service. Today, this echoes in Japan's emphasis on group harmony and duty, seen in workplaces where employees dedicate themselves to their companies. A modern reflection of the samurai's fealty. Hiroshi nocks an arrow, drawing his yumi with a precision honed by years of practice. The rules of Kijutsu, demanding patience and focus, mirror the discipline that defined samurai life. His daily rituals, running 5 kilometers through the hills, practicing calligraphy, meditating in the grove, were not just training but a way of being. In the Sengoku period, samurai like Wasugi Kenshin embodied this discipline, their endurance and strategy outlasting enemies. Modern Japan carries this forward in its culture of perseverance. From students studying tirelessly for exams to artisans perfecting crafts over decades, Hiroshi feels this connection as his arrow strikes the target's center. A small act tying him to his ancestors. The samurai's armor, its lacquered plates heavy on Hiroshi's shoulders during the Asano envoy's visit, was a symbol of duty. The rules of its care, polishing, purifying, wearing it with grace, reflected the samurai's role as a protector. In 1600, at Sekigahara, warriors like Fukushima Masanori fought in Yoroi, their armor battered but their resolve unbroken. Today, this manifests in Japan's respect for tradition and craftsmanship, seen in the meticulous restoration of temples or the precision of a sushi chef's knife. Hiroshi, cleaning his armor by lantern light, sees his father's hands in his own, a legacy of care passed through generations. Yet the samurai's legacy is not just in discipline but in sacrifice. Hiroshi thinks of Kenta kneeling in the courtyard, his seppuku a desperate act to cleanse his betrayal. The rules of bushido offered no mercy, demanding death to restore honor. In 1597, Torimoto Tada chose seppuku to defend his lord's castle. His sacrifice preserving Tokugawa Ieyasu's campaign. This willingness to give all for a greater cause lives on in Japan's sense of collective responsibility. From disaster relief efforts to the quiet sacrifices of parents for their children, Hiroshi, holding Kenji after the valley battle, knows this sacrifice. His life risked for Takeda and family alike. The samurai's spiritual path, rooted in Zen, also endures. Hiroshi's meditations in the grove, seeking clarity amidst wars, chaos echo the teachings of masters like Tokugawa Soho, who guided samurai to face death with calm. In the Muromachi period, warrior monks fought with Zen-born resolve, their mindfulness shaping battles. Today, Zen's influence permeates Japan's culture, from the minimalist aesthetics of tea ceremonies to the mindfulness practiced in corporate retreats. Hiroshi, kneeling before the stone Buddha, feels this timeless quest for peace. His breath a bridge between past and present, the rules of hospitality, guiding Hiroshi through the Asano envoy's visit, reveal another facet of the samurai's legacy. The tea ceremony, with its precise movements and quiet grace, was a diplomatic tool, forging alliances in the Sengoku period's tense truces. In 1582, Oda Nobunaga used such rituals to unify clans. His hospitality, a strategic art, modern Japan's emphasis on politeness and respect, from bowing in greetings to the omotenashi of its service industry, reflects this. Hiroshi, serving tea with steady hands, sees Isio's grace in hosting village guests, their shared decorum, a thread of samurai tradition. But the samurai's legacy is not without shadows. The rules that bound Hiroshi questioning loyalty, the readiness to kill or die could crush the human heart. Kenta's betrayal, driven by desperation for his family, exposed the code's rigidity. In 1578, Akechi Mitsuhide's treason against Oda Nobunaga stemmed from such pressures. His rebellion a cry against Bushido's demands. Today Japan grapples with this tension, balancing tradition with individual freedom, seen in debates over work-life balance or societal expectations. Hiroshi, torn between Takeda and Aiko, feels this struggle. His heart a battleground where love and duty clash. If you're enjoying this video, please subscribe. It means the world to keep these stories alive. Hiroshi returns home at dusk, the sky streaked with crimson. Aiko greets him with a smile, Kenji rushing to show a clumsy sword swing. The warmth of their home, its air filled with the scent of miso soup and cedar, grounds him. He reflects on the samurai's legacy, how its rule, discipline, sacrifice have shaped not just his life but Japan itself. The code that guided him through battles, betrayals, and quiet moments of tea has left a mark on the nation's soul. From its art to its ethics, he sits by the fire, polishing his katana, the repetitive motion a meditation. Aiko joins him, mending a tear in Kenji's clothes, her needle flashing in the light. They speak softly, sharing dreams for their son. Hiroshi hopes Kenji will inherit the samurai's virtues, compassion, discipline without the burdens of war or betrayal. In modern Japan, the samurai live on not as warriors but as ideals. Their stories told in films, books and festivals like Kyoto's Jidaya Matsuri, where actors dance yoroi to honor the past. The samurai's legacy also lives in Hiroshi's small act. He teaches Kenji to bow properly, a gesture of respect rooted in bushido. He helps a villager repair a cart, his benevolence a reflection of the code's compassion. These moments, quiet yet profound, carry the samurai spirit forward. In the Edo period, samurai like Yagyu Munenori wrote treatises on bushido, their words shaping modern martial arts like kendo, where discipline and honor prevail over violence. Hiroshi, sparring with Taro, feels this continuity, his link to the past. As night deepens, Hiroshi kneels before the family altar, lighting incense, its sandalwood scent curling upward. He prays for his ancestors, for Kenta's soul, for Aiko and Kenji's future. The rules of bushido, strict and unyielding, have tested him, but they've also given his life purpose. The samurai's legacy is not just in grand battles or tragic sacrifices, but in the quiet resolve to live with honor, to protect what matters, to find peace in a world of conflict. Hiroshi lies down, Iso's warmth beside him, Kenji's soft snores a gentle lullaby. The village sleeps, but the samurai's legacy endures. Its echoes in Japan's culture a testament to lives like his. From the oath that bound him to Takeda to the blade that mirrored his soul, to the armor that shielded him, Hiroshi's journey weaves into a story larger than himself. The rules of bushido, though rooted in a vanished era, speak to timeless truths, loyalty, sacrifice, the search for meaning. This is not the end, but a pause in the samurai's tale. Their legacy lives in the cherry blossoms that fall each spring, in the bow of a child learning respect, in the quiet strength of a family enduring. Hiroshi's story, like Japan's, continues, its rules a guide for those who seek honor in an ever-changing world.